Portrait of Christy Brown, 1980. Christy Brown was an author, painter and poet who suffered from cerebral palsy. He is most famous for his autobiography My Left Foot.
Christy Brown was born on June 5, 1932, in Crumlin, Dublin, Ireland, the 10th of 22 children born to a bricklayer and his wife. When Brown was an infant, it was discovered that he suffered from cerebral palsy and was almost completely paralyzed. His left foot was the only part of his body not affected by paralysis. Brown was considered mentally disabled by doctors, but his mother taught him how to read and write. Christy Brown was born into a working-class Irish family at the Rotunda Hospital in Dublin in June 1932. His parents were Bridget Fagan and Patrick Brown. He had 22 siblings. Out of these 22, 13 lived while 9 died in infancy. After his birth, doctors discovered that he had severe cerebral palsy, a neurological disorder that left him almost entirely spastic in his limbs. Though urged to commit him to a hospital, Brown's parents were unswayed and subsequently determined to raise him at home with their other children. During Brown's adolescence, social worker Catriona Delahunt became aware of his story and began to visit the Brown family regularly, while bringing Christy books and painting materials as, over the years, he had shown a keen interest in the arts and literature. He had also demonstrated extremely impressive physical dexterity since, soon after discovering several household books, Christy had learned to both write and draw himself, with the only limb over which he had unequivocal.
Today, Christy lives quietly at his home in Dublin. Quietly, but not idly, for he leads a very full life. He divides his time between his paint box and his typewriter, between his two careers, that is, of artist and author. His paintings are full of colour and life, and no one looking at them would ever guess the circumstances under which they were painted. Some of them have still life subjects, simple everyday things like a bowl of fruit or a vase of flowers, but in others he lets his fancy and imagination take flight, and he paints scenes and landscapes and events that he himself has only seen in his mind's eye. For him, his paintbrush is a means of escape, a means of self-expression, an outlet through which flows all his love of life and movement and activity. He sees things the way a child sees them, as something new and strange and exciting, and he paints them the same way. It's the painting of a man who's never been able to take anything for granted. Everything he has, no matter how ordinary.